What's up, guys? Today we are doing part 7. They say that this might not be the last part, but I'm hoping it is, because honestly after this part I'm like kind of over this story. Maybe you guys won't be. If you're not, let me know and I'll keep doing it if they post another part. But Jesus, like, this part is just, I don't know. I feel like it kind of ruined it for me a little bit. I'll let you guys decide. I just feel like it's just getting a little too, like, out there now. I feel like they should have went a different way with it. But it's definitely interesting. It's definitely different than the other parts. So get prepared. You're gonna be in for a little bit of a shock here. But we'll see what happens. I feel like they could still come back with this story. I know a lot of you guys might think it's true or might be wondering if it's true or not. I don't think it's true. I'm pretty sure most of the stories on the No Sleep Reddit are made up. Some of them might be true, I don't know, but I don't really believe this one is true. Anyways, you guys, so let's go ahead and jump into this story. So it's just part 7. They haven't uploaded a part 8. They just uploaded this yesterday. They didn't upload for like a few days, so that's why I haven't uploaded for a few days, and I'm a little late to this story, so sorry about that too. Anyway, so here we go. So it starts off as, well. Hello, Reddit. My, this is a strange turn of events. I suppose some introductions are in order. My name is Mark. It's taken me a long time to get here, but here we are. I was a little surprised to find my darling fiance's little blog, but damn, have I enjoyed browsing through it, as well as all your comments. But that being said, I think it's time you all hear the full story from me. It all started Friday, March 9th, just like Nikki told you all. She came home and we started looking at the budget for the wedding, and we began arguing about how much we were willing to spend on certain things. I left for work, promising that we would talk about it tomorrow. That night at work, we had a lot of new patients admitted to both the ER and the psych ward. Around 3 a.m., this man came strolling in asking to release a psych patient into his custody. He said the patient's name was Ian Smith. I asked for some identification, and he presented me with an ID bearing the name Samuel Sullivan. The proper work was completed and Ian Smith was released into Samuel's care. I was not the one to send them on their merry way, so I had not yet met Ian Smith. When I got off work around 7 a.m., Samuel Sullivan was waiting in the parking lot for me. He was leaning against his Cadillac DeVille coupe, my favorite car. Impressed, I shot the shit with him for a few minutes about the car, before he asked if I wanted a ride. Of course I said yes. While we were driving around, he made polite small talk, and we got on the topic of Nikki and the wedding, money and whatnot. I confessed that we were a little strapped for cash and that we had both been working non-stop to try to fund the big day. No one really warns you how expensive weddings are, and no one was helping pay for any of it. Not that we wanted help, we just were not prepared for how pricey things like flowers and a bar could actually be. Regardless, he piped up and told me he could help if I was interested. He had my attention. He explained to me that he and his associates work in a shadow of secrecy, and that they were there to assist those in need, as long as a mutually beneficial agreement could be reached. They accepted no monetary payment for their services, but everything has a price. You see, Samuel Sullivan is one of many human forms that the devil himself takes. I myself was not a man who believes in God or the devil, but I gave his proposal a listen. He explained to me that there are ways to increase your luck, wealth, anything really. That sometimes, in some cases, luck, wealth were shared. And if the secondary party were to be eliminated, all of the luck and the wealth would fall to the one remaining. I didn't fully understand, but I must say I was intrigued, not just for the money, for curiosity's sake as well. I asked him what I had to do. He pulled back into the parking lot right next to my car, gave me an address to meet him at sundown. We shook hands and parted ways. When he pulled away, I realized that it was nearly 4 o'clock. We had been gone the whole day, but it felt like a matter of minutes. At home, I quickly packed an overnight bag, unsure of how long I would be gone. I must have accidentally pocket dialed Nikki, but when she tried to call me back, I had no idea what to tell her. So I simply texted her that something had come up and that I would explain later, assuming that I would have an actual explanation later. Before I left to meet Sam, I saw Nikki's note on the counter and wrote that I loved her too. When I met up with Sam, he ushered me into his car once again and began driving in silence. I can't say that I was scared or concerned, really. Quite frankly, I didn't much care what we were going to do. I was committed now. If what he said was true for the first time in my adult, independent life, I wouldn't be scraping by, pinching pennies, worrying about the next paycheck. To be honest, I would have done anything in that moment. He parked the car alongside of the road and told me we would have to walk the rest of the way. When we arrived at a small clearing in the woods, we were met by two other men, one dressed much like Sam in a nice suit with a sly grin, and one unconscious on the ground. There were 5 small fires set up in a circle, and on the ground connecting the circle and the points was what looked like sand or salt or something. I realized it was a giant pentagram, and for the first time I started to believe that this man may actually be the devil himself. He explained to me that the unconscious man held half my luck and half my wealth, and that if I wanted it back, he would have to be eliminated. I said I understood, and he handed me an ornate dagger with writing on the blade, Pesicur signatus est enim. As soon as I took the dagger, something washed over me, this incredible feeling of strength and power. I walked to the man on the ground and was taken aback when I realized he looked almost exactly like me. I looked to Samuel for an explanation. He smiled and said, Non potest esse nisi unus. There can only be one. And I knew he was right. I murdered my doppelganger that night, Ian Smith, the twin I never knew I had. I murdered him and stole every last bit of luck and wealth we had been sharing all these years. When the deed was done, Samuel handed me a can of gasoline and a book of matches, told me to erase him. I burned his body, I erased him. We no longer were identical. We no longer had to share. Non potest esse nisi unus. I blacked out. When I woke up the next day, I was in some motel room somewhere. I had a nasty burn on my arm from where the fire snuck up on me the night before. I felt incredible though, better than I have ever felt. I got up and went for a run, and when I returned, Samuel was waiting on me. He explained to me that no one was to ever know what happened in the woods. I was to forget that man ever existed. I didn't even know his name at that point. I got a call shortly after asking if I wanted to pick up a shift at the hospital. Sunday pay, plus they offered to throw in a few extra bucks an hour for asking me so last minute. My luck was turning around already. As my darling fiancé had explained to you kind folks, I returned home every bit of the loving and attentive man. This is the same person writing this. I don't know if her real name's Nikki, but whoever is writing this is the same person writing this because they say kind folks a lot. It's just the way their writing is and how detailed they are. I can just tell it's the same person writing this. So I know this isn't a real story, guys, okay? I'm just saying. Anyway, I returned home every bit the loving and attentive man. Everything was going great, truth be told. After reading Nikki's little diary here, it all makes sense now. I had no idea that she was getting these phone calls, but that definitely explains why it all went to shit one day. To clarify, I truthfully was in Chicago training for work last week. Like I said, my luck has turned around. The pay increase will be incredible. I was adopted out of Chicago as a young child, and I have no memories of my time there. I suppose Ian Smith also would have been adopted out of Chicago, but I don't recall having a twin. My childhood is still a mystery, I suppose, but I've begun to wonder how much of that is repression and how much of it is new and improved Mark. I should also explain for any of you out there thinking this sounds easy enough, make a deal with the devil and get my perfect life. Make no mistake, magic, even black magic from the source himself, it's like psychics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That is true. You can't receive without giving something back. Like Samuel said, a mutually beneficial agreement a deal, a contract. For me, I paid with my soul. I am no longer the same Mark I used to be. I'm much, much better. So I suppose at this point you're all probably wondering where Nikki is. Worry not, she's been taken care of. I returned from Chicago to find her missing, as well as her suitcases and a lot of her belongings. It took a few days, but I tracked her down. Bank statements don't lie. It wasn't hard to find out where she was staying. She was holed up in a motel halfway from here to Indiana. When I arrived at her room, she freaked out, screaming and throwing things at me, backing herself into a corner. She was like a caged animal. I knew she knew something was going on. Someone in the room next door called the police. When they arrived, I talked them into transporting her home for a mental evaluation. I told them as the concerned husband-to-be that I thought the stress had just gotten to her and that she had had a mental break. That's where she is now, being mentally evaluated to see if she is a danger to herself or others. No one will believe her story, even if she tells them anything. She's just a hysterical, overworked bride-to-be that needs a break. That's what I'm counting on. Should at least buy me a few days to figure out what to do about her. Maybe I should call off the wedding, pick up and start over. Maybe I should run with this con, convince her that she really did just have a mental breakdown. Or maybe she needs to be eliminated. Maybe she's already caused enough trouble. Decisions. Edit. To clarify, I didn't hack into her account. When she was taken for psych evaluation, I brought electronics and things home. I know my fiance's laptop password. This account was already logged in, with Reddit bookmarked. As far as Jones, he came by the house. I told him I had been working all weekend when Smith disappeared, and that I had avoided Nikki because we had been fighting. He can't prove I was anywhere else, and until he does, I don't anticipate seeing him again. If he wants to search anything, he's gonna need a warrant. He doesn't have enough reason for a judge to approve one. Also, this story is most certainly not over. I'll let you all know what I decide to do with Nikki. Worry not. So, that is it. That is part 7 of Something's Wrong with My Fiancé. And they said it's not the end of the story and they'll keep us updated, blah, 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 but I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Like, it does make sense. Like, now I can see that's where they were planning on going with it, but the mystery is what kept it so good, and it's like, now that I know, I'm just kind of like, I felt like you could have did a little better than that, you know? Like, who's gonna get, like, if this was a true story, who's gonna get on freaking, you know, who's gonna get on their girlfriend's Reddit, who they just lied and locked up into a mental institution, get onto a Reddit and then confess everything when the police are still pretty much looking into them? Like, I don't know. It's just, I just don't think it's true, you guys. But let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if you want me to continue this, if you guys are kind of over it now, or if you've been over it, or whatever. Let me know what you guys want me to do, girl. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.